reading from the Gospel of Mark. Then they sent to Jesus some Pharisees and some Herodians to trap him in what he said. And they came and said to him, "Teacher, we know that you are sincere and show deference to no one, for you do not regard people with partiality, but teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. Is it lawful to pay taxes to the emperor or not? Should we pay them or should we not?" But, knowing their hypocrisy, Jesus said to them, "Why are you putting me to the test? Bring me a denarius and let me see it." And they brought one. And then he said to them, "Whose head is this, and whose title?" And they answered, "The emperor's." And Jesus said to them, "Give to the emperor the things that are the emperor's, and to God the things that are God's." And they were utterly amazed at him. Well, just for context, Jesus is in Jerusalem. He has had the triumphal entry, and he's in what's amounting to the final conflict with religious authorities and authorities of the state, the Roman Empire. So Jesus is in a contested space, and he knows it, and he knows that they're attempting to trap him into saying something just openly seditious, like, "Don't pay your taxes." Instead, Jesus finds his way, as he often does. He finds his way around the false dichotomy or the false question that is posed and points them to a central point that both keeps him out of trouble for the moment in this story, but also is a central question for you and me, any who follow Jesus of Nazareth. And that is, when we are operating in our life with our loyalties, with the giving, the rendering of ourself in terms of our time, our money, and any other way that we pour ourselves out in this world, Jesus says, be mindful of to whom you owe what. Be mindful of what parts of you belong to these various systems of loyalty and obligation that each of us inhabits. We all have many citizenships, right? We are Americans, many of us around St. James, we're Chicagoans, and so on and so forth. And we belong to family systems where we owe things to the group. And Jesus says, be mindful about what you're giving to whom, and make sure that you give to each what is owed to them. Jesus does not shirk or say we have no civic responsibilities. He does not say, yes, you must withdraw from paying the emperor's taxes. He simply acknowledges that that system of belonging and its obligations exists. But he also says that is not in place of what you owe to God, how it is that you are obligated to render yourself, your very self, unto God. You will have heard me quote many times a former bishop of mine who said that giving, every time we give financially, we are giving of ourselves as a sort of spiritual calisthenics, preparation for the time when each one of us will have to give ourselves, render ourselves, our whole selves back to God. And that is at the time of our death, where we will meet God again face to face, or meet God for the first time, who knows, but meet God and come into God's presence, and we will have no choice but to give our entire selves over in that moment. And this bishop said it'd be nice if when you do that, it's not the first time you've used that muscle. That giving of yourself, your time, your talent, of your financial means, giving that to God, rendering it to God, is a spiritual sort of calisthenics and preparation for the day when you give your whole self to God. And so Jesus in today's reading invites us to be aware of to whom we are giving what parts of ourself. And of course, what do we owe God? Only loving God with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength, and loving our neighbors as ourselves. That is what is owed to God. That is the sacrifice and the gift that God desires. Those of us who have the financial means, as we think about what we give where, as today's story invites us, think about where it is that we are spending ourselves, spending our resources, making sure that we give to each community and system to which we belong what is due. And sometimes it's easy to leave God out of that equation, to leave our various faith communities out of that question. Jesus invites us not to do that. Give to everyone in your life and all systems to which you belong what is due them, as you are a citizen of that. but also remember you are a citizen with the saints in the household of God. And you will, at the end of this life, you will look back and, I'm assuming, have some sort of life review and think about how it is you have spent yourself. I hope that that will include you feeling, and I hope you have a vision of that, including your feeling good about what you've rendered to God and how you've done it over time. So may God be with you as you consider these things and how they play out in your own life. May God bless you and keep you this day and always. Amen.